next anime that we are going to be talking about is Takopi's Original Sin. And ladies and gentlemen, I was not ready for this episode to do the things that it did. And we have a lot to talk about because, I thought I was done with the multiple episodes talking about. Nope, we got 5. And I'm not going to go over everyone, obviously, because when I do that, it takes like 45 minutes. So obviously, I'm just going to give my whole thoughts on the entire anime 1 through 5 so far. And like I said before, I have some thoughts. Now, I want to be frank. I think the energy that I'm currently giving off right now is one of like disdain or one of like disappointment or one of like non-enjoyment. Let's get one thing straight. I enjoyed Takopi's Original Sin to the point where even within halfway of this anime, I am already considering it as probably top 3 for this year. It's probably gonna be, there's a high chance that this anime will be anime of the year, but definitely in there with like top 3 at the very least. It is in that discussion of like S tier anime for 2025. But man, it's a lot. It's a lot. The first episode alone is a lot because like I just have a weakness with stuff when it comes to childhood drama, childhood abuse, all that stuff. It gets to me, man. It gets to me so fucking hard. I don't know why. I'll never understand it. I mean, I do understand it, but that's a conversation for my therapist. But like in terms of just how it depicts it, how they depict the characters, all the traumas that they go through when it comes to the characters like Shizuka, when it comes to characters like, oh my god, I forgot the character's name. I want to say her name was Marina, but I genuinely cannot remember her name. And then Azuma and Shizuka and Marina, they're all going through stuff. They're all going through stuff, and it sucks to see. But at the same time, man, each one of them, it just forms them. It's just also an underlining of hatred's not the wrong word. I think hatred's too strong for this. But I think a better way to describe it is worry, because we see all the stuff that Myron goes through with her traumas and her home life, but we see how that shapes her as an adult. And then there's Shizuka, where we see like not only how her life is, but also the things that she's going through into school and what that can lead to and what personality that can shape. And then there's Azuma, which is another same exact thing. You see the home life, you see that stuff. And before I say it, they all have very, very, very shitty home lives. But all of them also, very much so, are Azuma at the very least has somewhat of like, there's a lifeline there. There's a lifeline of a good life that can come out from that. And we see it in the episode, but obviously it leads to just still not great and good decisions being made. And then I still don't know quite yet how I feel about Takopi's involvement in all this. I think at the beginning I was more on the leaning of disliking it because it felt like it broke the seriousness of what was going on a bit too much. I understand Takopi's role now. I think I was just caught up in the emotions of everything, but I do understand Takopi's position now, where it's someone on the outside who doesn't understand the human condition, who doesn't understand human like emotions and all that stuff like that, and it's somebody who you see who's looking at all these things and questioning why somebody is doing this, why someone can hurt somebody like that, how someone can do the actions they do, if these things are okay, what leads to a human to this, like seeing them being like, hey, it's not decision, but then watching somebody like kind of spiral and not make the decision. Takopi basically acts as somewhat of a morality, like despite the ignorance that Takopi has, and I won't say blissful ignorance, that ignorance of you're not potentially obtuse about something, but you're more or less like the lack of understanding that you have when it comes to these interactions just makes him feel disingenuous. But that is the point. He's learning about all the human conditions and other stuff like that. And so again, I get his role. I think sometimes it can be a bit too comedic at times, but I more understand it. I appreciated it more when he ended up turning into Marina and him experiencing the things that Marina deals with at home, and him seeing like, oh yeah, like, hey, this decision is serious and that decision is serious, and I think we're going too far. This is too much. We should probably do the right thing at some point and like shift gears from digging ourselves into the hole. And Azuma was originally that, but also you see how, you know, when it comes to logic and then certain other things, how certain other things can just kind of override that a little bit. And also, I've said it as well, if you haven't known or haven't caught on already, this anime is going to deal with serious topics. I felt like I should have said that earlier, but Takopi's Original Sin is going to deal with serious topics. It's going to deal with serious topics of, you know, taking your own life. It's going to deal with serious topics of child trauma. I'm not going to censor myself for this one. I'm not going to say the dumb shit like fucking sewer slide and unalive. That's just inappropriate in like most contexts. I could get it as like maybe a joke or such shit, but I'm not gonna do that here just because I feel like this anime doesn't deserve that. There are appropriate words, mind you, that you could use. Like I said, taking your own life. I think childhood trauma is, it's not really censored, but I get why someone would, you know, want to avoid that on YouTube. But also, I don't have to deal with monetization right now because I'm not big enough. But still, I know YouTube could be kind of censorious about that. But there are very triggering and very worrying stuff here. And I think the anime, like I said, it does a good job most of the time depicting that. Takopi is just like the one thing. But I understand their role. I'm just like unsure of it yet. But no, we delve into serious stuff. I was very worried what type of things we're going to get into and how it leads into it. But I do think that they're doing a wonderful job. I got emotional a lot of times. No crying. I haven't gotten to the point where like I sat there bald crying. I got teary-eyed a little bit. I sat there. I'm just like, oh my God. And there's definitely times I had visceral reactions of certain decisions being made and all that stuff when it came to adult characters and even some of the child characters. The one character that just baffled me was Shizuku, and all the shit that she goes through and like the little reveals that we have with her. Oh boy. I mean, I guess I could talk about it because again, it's the discussion episode, but like having that reveal of like who, not necessarily who Shizuka was, because again, like I said, that person probably wouldn't be that child wouldn't be that type of person if it wasn't for the trauma that they went through, if it wasn't for all the pain that they've caused. And like for like an episode, I kind of get Shizuku when it comes to Takopi getting rid of Marina. I kind of get why Shizuku would just want to believe in magic rather than admitting that something serious actually happens. But obviously it kind of goes a bit too far with, you know, her trying to convince Azuma to take the blame because Azuma has a problem with validation and loves validation, and the fact that Shizuku looks so much like Azuma's mom, and then that leading to Shizuku going, oh, you want to know the point in this anime that I think broke me the most? It was the point where we hear about Shizuku's dad, and it sucks because we have the parallel of Marina's mom and Marina's family, right? Where they're fighting, they're arguing, but every so often they still have like their interaction, stuff like that. Marina still comes back to a home with a mom and a dad. I know the dad, I think, is in the process of moving out, but like both of them in their own sick ways do care about him. Now that's a lot coming from the mom, obviously. I do think there's somewhere where she cares, but it's like, it's a very toxic way where it's like, oh yeah, I care about my child, but my child has to care about me, right? Because I want my child to be on my side because I love you. You use that like, it's kind of like that. I want to say love bombing's not the right word, but it's definitely a lot more manipulative than it would be, to the point where like I would go as far as saying that me even saying that she cares is kind of insulting a little bit. I do think the dad sort of cares, because at the very least the dad is wanting to take the child, and the dad, while understanding he's probably ruining a home or some shit like that, is at the very least you know, he's kind to the daughter at the very least. I'm trying to find silver linings here, and realistically, I probably fucking shouldn't, because both of them are still bad. Like, I'm pretty sure one is cheating and the other one is abusing the child. But still, man, like, it's just tough. It's just really tough. But I think the point where I was like, oh, this anime is actually peak. And I already assumed that this anime was going to be peak already. Like, for the first episode, I'm like, we're diving into something that is either going to be a complete joke on how it handles things, or like a masterclass. And honestly, I'm leaning more towards masterclass. But also, the twist that we get for episode 5, because the thing that made me want to start watching this was I saw a really intense clip of Marina and her mom in a certain interaction. And then I see the actual context. And it's one of those rare things of, you can watch that clip. You can watch the clip that I saw on TikTok and go through that entire episode, like go through that entire anime up to episode 5, and you still will not have guessed that context. Because I was baffled, because I definitely sat there and I'm like, okay, there's a lot of confusing things. What is happening? Like, well, how do we get to this point? And as I just continued watching, I just sat there and just like, oh, that's how we got here. What the verbatim, I sat there, just agape in my mouth, just, what the fuck? And now we are at episode 5 with the ending of it, where I think for the rest of the season, I think it is actually going to be Takopi pairing up with Azuma, because obviously in the beginning of the anime it was Takopi and Shizuku, and we saw how that went, and it was Takopi and Marina when we saw how that went. So like I said, Azuma always seemed like he had at least a silver lining, because I'm not gonna lie, you look at Shizuku's life, there is no silver lining. You look at Marina's life, there is no silver lining. Both of their lives are fucked. And I think Azuma is the only one that has just a smidgen of stability enough that Takopi and Azuma might actually, or Azuma, whatever. But I think it's Azuma. But I think that their pairing will actually help both Shizuku and Marina. I think both of them are going to end up I think both of them are going to help, you know, at the very least bring that stuff together. Now, how that's going to affect Azuma and his interactions with everything and his own dramas and his own things, I wonder a lot, and it makes me think that either we're going to go down 2 directions. Either Takopi and Azuma are going to end up fixing stuff, and it's going to be nice, but it's going to be like a major uphill battle with multiple fixes, or Azuma ends up just using the both of Shizuku and Marina in some way, shape, or form. And at that point, Azuma will also be like a failed attempt cause at a certain point. And at that point, I don't know where the anime goes. It'll go intense, but I don't know where the anime goes at that point. Because, man, that would be intense. But yeah, like I said, I have a lot of thoughts. I am really liking the anime. I want to put that clear. I am extremely liking the anime and what it does. It's fun. It's nice. It's enjoyable. It's a lot of it's good, man. A lot of it is really, really good. I'm enjoying everything that it does so far, and I'm enjoying everything that it's doing. So, you know, God, I have so many thoughts. I have so many more thoughts, but we have other things to talk about right now. Just know that Takopi Original Sin, man, that's so good. It's hard. I've read my fair share. It's still not the hardest thing. I just think anything having to do with childhood trauma and child abuse, it's a lot for me, man. It's a lot for me. But it is good. I think it handles the topic of it fairly well. Mostly well. Maybe with a few kind of slip-ups here and there with the character Takopi. But other than that, man, genuinely so good. Genuinely enthralling, enriching, definitely hard to watch, but I think it's definitely all anime worth watching.